Hi guys, it's time for a budget video. I'm a couple of months behind on doing this for you, and I'm going to do it a little different than I did last time. Last time I gave you my set expenses, which I'll do again, and then I also kept receipts on that video, and I told you what I spent for groceries and eating out and all that. And that video is still alive and well if you want to hear the budget that way. So it's there for you to watch. I thought I would change it up a little bit this time around because there were a couple of things that I didn't talk about in that video that I want to cover this time. And I'm going to talk kind of fast and try to get through this real quick because I've got the Doomageddon crud. Me and a bunch of other people have come down with this terrible cough. And I've tried shooting this video three times yesterday, and I just couldn't get through it without going into a coughing fit. But it's better today, so here we go. All right. Well, last time I did a video, I told you that I spend $1,500 a month as my monthly budget, which is sort of true. It depends on the month. And here's the dealio. I get paid by Social Security, and Social Security pays me on the second Wednesday of every month. So I don't get one on the 1st of November, the 1st of December. It doesn't work that way. Excuse me. At least I didn't go into a fit. The second Wednesday of the month creates kind of an interesting dynamic because sometimes I get paid every 4 weeks, and sometimes I get paid in 5 weeks from the previous check. So it changes the dynamics of how you're going to spend your money, or how I'm going to spend my money. How you spend your money is up to you. And so I kind of broke it down. You're going to have to bear with me here. I'm going to be looking down because I made some notes for you. My set expenses are: rent is $400 US dollars, $400, 20,000 pesos. My power averages right around 4,000 pesos, which is $80. My water is set at, that's the water to take showers, not drinking water, showers and sink and all that kind of stuff. That's set at $5 a month, $250. My phone is $12 USD. It's a plan that I buy for 600 pesos. Internet upgrade is $12, 600 pesos. I figured my visa in, I don't know if I did that last time, but I got to go to immigration every few months to renew my visa. And if I break it down on a monthly basis, it runs about 20 US dollars, or 1,000 pesos approximately. Fuel, I figured fuel on my scooter should be about 1,000 pesos. It's really not that much when I put gas in it, but if I factor in the oil changes and, the occasional wash, just transportation, I'm sorry again, I can't kick this thing. $20 is a fair number. And then if I put in like cigarettes, I'm sorry I smoke, but here's what it is, right? And then I put in miscellaneous. So miscellaneous is stuff that I don't buy every month, but I do buy, like charcoal for the grill, charcoal starter. I've got a tank of gas that goes to light the burners on the stove. I replace that like every 6 months. So I factor all those little nickels and dimes in. I figured miscellaneous at $50. So if I add all that up, my fixed expenses, that's to put a roof over my head, keep the lights on, drive the scooter, use my phone, be able to get online. Basically, I've done everything but buy groceries. I haven't bought a tube of toothpaste. I haven't bought any clothes, and I haven't gone to a restaurant. But to have shelter, electricity, water, gas, and transportation comes to $600 a month, period. If I draw down 1,500 pesos, and it's a 35-day pay period. In other words, if it's going to be 5 weeks between now and my next check, I break it down on what I have to spend on a daily basis. So if it's a 5-weeker, I take $1,500 from America, bring it over here, and convert it over into pesos. That gives me 75,000 pesos, which after I pay the rent and all that jazz, I've got $900 left over, which is 45,000 pesos remaining after I've paid the rent and everything. And that breaks down to 1,285 pesos a day that I can spend. That's about 25 bucks. And usually if nothing goes too crazy, that's just fine. Now on a 4-weeker, in other words, when there's a 28-day gap between checks coming in, a lot of times, not always, but sometimes I'll just draw down $1,300. Because if I break that down on a daily basis, pay my rent and everything else like we just discussed, that gives me $1,250 a day to spend. And that's not living any crazy lifestyle, but I do have a girlfriend. We do like to go out to eat. We do the major shopping thing where we go to Hypermart and I'll drop $100 easy right then and there. But that stocks up the refrigerator, gets food for me, food for her. And then there's the shampoo, there's the soap, there's the whitening shampoo or soap or whatever crap they buy. And normally that works out just cool and groovy. But very rarely does a month go by that something just doesn't go wrong. It's hard for me to laugh. I'll start coughing. So last month was no exception. In October, I got really sick. This is a different sickness. This is November, right? I'm in right now. I'm telling you about October's budget last month. The last month, I had to go see a specialist. I actually did a video also on seeing the doctor. So if you haven't seen that puppy, you might want to watch that one too. Anyway, long story short, to see the specialist, I had to go get some blood tests done. They had to perform a biopsy. They had to send off to a hospital to have the biopsy analyzed, and then they gave me medication to use in the meantime. And so last month, between all that doctor came to 6,500 pesos that I wasn't expecting. And then another little anomaly came up was there was a holiday called All Saints Day. Excuse me again. And on All Saints Day is, I think, one of the coolest holidays that exists out here. We don't have this in America. All Saints is when families get together and they go to the cemetery and remember the dead. And I just think that's cool as part of the family dynamic that's so important out here. I think that just reinforces it. And to pay honor to those that have gone before and maybe, pave the way for whatever they have now. I'm sorry. But May and I have been together for about a year now. And May's never really asked me for anything. She's never been a financial drag on me at all. She's never asked for cash. She's never asked for an allowance. Occasionally we'll drive by in what's called an okai store. And she'll see like a cute top or a pair of shorts, $2, $5, whatever. And she'll say, hey babe, can we look at that? I know she wants it, so sure, we go and we buy it. But big deal. I apologize, but I'm going to get through this video. So, kind of an unusual thing. In the year that I've known May, she's never asked for anything, but prior to All Saints Day, she was going to go home to Cebulan, where she lives. I'm sorry, Chateau, where she lives. And we went to Hypermart, and she bought a bunch of extra food. And she had asked permission to get this food, and I said sure, because I just thought it was for the house. But I didn't quite understand. And she started cooking all this food. And she kept telling me, hey, I'm putting spaghetti here for you because she's leaving. So she wants to make sure I don't, starve to death. And she really just doesn't want me to go out. But, excuse me, guys. But anyway, she started cooking all this food and stuff. And then when it was time for her to go the next day to Chaton to see her family and visit the cemetery over the weekend, she had took a bunch of food with her that she had prepared. And she doesn't come from a poor family, but, excuse me, she comes from a very simple family. And I think this just was her way of not showing up to the holiday empty-handed. And I was more than happy to finance the little project. And she had asked me for permission to buy extra food, and I couldn't figure out what it was for. But then once she started packing it up and was getting ready to go, I understood the meaning and the significance behind it. Anyway, that little operation ran 2,500 pesos, $50. For her to prepare the food, buy the cakes, the sweets. Again, she made spaghetti and some other kind of stuff. I don't know. So that went out the door. So the doctor was 6,500 pesos. I wasn't expecting. May's little trip to home was 2,500 pesos. The battery went out on my bike. That was 1,000 pesos. And the back tire blew up on my bike. That was 1,000 pesos. So that was a total of 12,000 pesos that I wasn't counting on. That came down to, I had a budget of $12.85 a day to live on. If you subtract, excuse me guys, if you subtract from $12.85 with a total of the 12,000 and average it out, now I've got an average of $9.42 per day to live on. For the first time, that didn't cut it. And I get paid tomorrow, but 4 days ago, I had to go to the bank and I had to drop or pull out $100 from my Bank in America. I've never done that before. Excuse me, I'm sorry. This is one of those weird cold, cough, fever things I got going on. Anyway, the reason that I want to break that down for you is that if you're thinking about coming out here, shit happens, and you can try to budget as best as possible. And I'm really good. I mean, I'm down to like my last 10 pesos usually by the time my next check comes in. And that's okay, because the whole point of me being out here and setting the budget as I do is because I intend to spend it. I receive more than $1,500 per month on my Social Security check. I simply choose to cap it at that. And I had to dip into it this one time. And thank God it was there. There's also money set aside in case I have to go home tomorrow, buy a plane ticket, rent a hotel, take care of an emergency, whatever. I forget what else I was going to talk to you guys about. But that's the budget. I live on $1,500. Again, I apologize for the drippy nose and the cough and the snizzles. I watched a lot of videos before I came out here where guys lived on 1,000, and it seemed like everybody paid $200 a month for rent. One thing I've learned out here is that in the Philippines, and this is an old saying that's true, but I think it's especially true out here, you get what you pay for. If you rent a place, a house, an apartment, whatever, for $200, excuse me, I'm sorry. If you rent it for $200, unless you just got some sort of super duper steal where the guy didn't know what he had, which is far and few between, you're going to get $200 worth of place. I pay $400, and I think I get $400 worth of place. It's modern. It has a pool. The grounds are impeccably kept. It's fully furnished. Kind with a microwave, stuff that I'm used to. And here's one other quick thing that I will throw at you when it comes to renting a place, which is part of the budget. You don't, location, of course, is the old adage in real estate. I found that to be very true here. I've lived here for 2 years, and I really like the location. It's away from everything, but it's close to everything, if that makes any sense. But a major factor was, who did I rent from? And it just happens that my landlords are diamonds. They're like family. I mean, I have been sick, and they have come over and brought me soup. I have a friend of mine that's getting kicked out of his place because he's got a couple of aquariums. and the lease says no pets. So there's the opposite end, My landlord has gone over and above for all of the tenants here. If any of us are ever going out of town and we need a ride to the airport, they're more than happy to accommodate you or pick you up from the airport. They always invite us over at Christmas. Again, they just treat you like family. And so to me, if I was to get this place for $300 a month and have some asshole, on my back, I'd rather pay the $4 and have the landlords that I have now. But that's just me, because I believe that you get what you pay for. And a lot of it's peace of mind. So anyway, that's the drill. My set overhead, guys, is $600. Could I live on $400 for 35 days? Yeah, I could. May and I could. We easily could. Not easily. We could. Eat very simple. Cut back on the $5 coffees. Cut back on the desserts. Cut back on the movies. Cut back on the excursions. Cut back on taking a couple of people out and treating them because they can't afford to buy a beer. Cut back on, I don't know, just stay home, I guess, or just go do free stuff. But that's not why I'm here. And so if you're on $1,000 a month budget, you can do it. You just won't do it like I did. All right, well, that's it. I hope you guys subscribe. I always feel good when I see a new subscriber hit the button. And please feel free. Again, I apologize for my voice and my nose running on you, but I wanted to pop this video out there for you because it is that time of the month. Okay? See you guys. I hope you subscribe.